WrestleMania 35 is officially in the history books. We're now on the road to WrestleMania 36. And what better way to start this journey by recapping WrestleMania 35? We got a whole bunch of injuries that have occurred. We got things going on, craziness happening with Sasha Banks. We got the Superstar Shakeup coming up. So stick around.
Hey, yo, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to VGR Down. That's my line. I am your host, Double A Ron, along with my main man, Steven. What's going on, brother?
We got a lot going on, man. It's post WrestleMania season. WrestleMania 35 is in the books. We got some new champions. I mean, we got a lot of injuries, a lot of drama. Let's just start. You know what? We're going to start right with the injury report. So, post WrestleMania 35, we got a ton of injuries. One of the most notable ones is going to be AJ Styles is going to be out with a hip injury. Allegedly, he injured that when he did the phenomenal forearm from the inside of the ring to the outside of the ring. You got Daniel Bryan that's currently out with an undisclosed injury. You got Big E tore his meniscus over on SmackDown. Ronda Rousey suffering a broken hand. It's speculated that Rey Mysterio is potentially still injured, which might explain why his WrestleMania 35 match was so short, even though it's also rumored that it was a time thing. And then lastly, just announced you got Nia Jax that's going to be out. She's having double knee surgery. She tore her ACL over in both knees, man.
Ooh.
So we got a lot of injuries, man. A lot of injuries going on. Then you know what? Let's get on to this next thing. Big thing. Post WrestleMania, Sasha Banks was supposed to appear on the Wendy Williams show, and she canceled. And it's kind of crazy. Allegedly, she told them that, she canceled there was a family emergency. But it seems like this story is still developing. Allegedly, it's speculated that she was upset that they wanted that they put the belts on the Iconics, essentially. I mean, because like most people expected, and I think both me and you thought that the Boss and Hug Connection was going to hold the belts for a while to try to establish some prestige for these new titles. So the Iconics getting the belt at WrestleMania was definitely a little surprising. But it's speculated that she tried to quit this past weekend over that issue. She had that cryptic text where she was talking about she wanted to feel like she was coming home again. So you got a whole lot happening, allegedly as well. So today, it's Friday, April 12th. She unfollowed Vince McMahon on Twitter. She unfollowed WWE, AEW, Cody Rhodes, and a lot of stuff. And it's saying that they rejected her request to quit the company and told her to go home and think about it for a couple weeks and see if she feels the same way after a couple weeks. Crazy, right?
Well, why would she unfollow AEW and Cody Rhodes?
I think she might be frustrated with professional wrestling altogether.
Wow.
So her unfollowing everything, a lot of wrestling related stuff.
Because I would have loved to see her AEW. That's what I was excited for. I'm like, all right, quit. Go to another company, because AEW seems like they're going to take care of their women wrestlers as well. So that's too bad. She's young. What is she, like 26?
Yeah, she's in her 20s. I don't know exactly how old she is, but I mean, when you're not happy, you're not happy.
Cool. Well, if she needs peace of mind, she should walk away from the business. But if she's not happy with the WWE's treatment of her, try a different company. Try AEW. She'll shine in AEW and get paid well for it.
See, it's weird. I don't know why why she would be unhappy. I mean, I feel like personally they
disrespected her.
I don't feel like they disrespected her. I feel
her.
like throughout her career, they still treated her relatively well, significantly better than a lot of the other women talent that they have.
Significantly better than some of the women talent, yes.
I mean, she didn't get Charlotte treatment, but I mean, she could be Dana Brooks or
She's significantly
Alicia
better than her.
Fox.
And she's significantly better than Alicia Fox. But for the talent that she is, she should be in the talks of main eventing of WrestleMania as well. Sasha Banks lost the belt the day after she won it. She's been involved in stupid storylines. She's been involved in this going nowhere, stupid feud she had with Bayley that turned into a friendship that's probably going to turn back into another feud. It's like, and then it's like you won't even allow her to be a tag champ, but won't even allow her to have a long title reign. So I 100% agree with her. She should dip. I hope she goes.
I don't know. See, I disagree, and I don't know. Maybe it's you know, you're in this entitled generation, but
You're a millennial, Steven.
don't lie to people. But compared to most, she's still treated pretty well. So you know, I don't, you know, I know everyone has their own opinion on how they feel they should be utilized creatively, but I mean, at the end of the day, somebody has to be the Brooklyn Brawler. Not everybody can be Hogan. Not everybody can be Shawn Michaels. Somebody has to be Marty Jannetty.
So you equate Sasha Banks to Marty Jannetty, like a mid-card act in the Divas division?
It's not that, but everyone has this thing where they want to be perfectly utilized all the time, and not everybody can be a star.
They should have 5 stars in the women division that are bona fide main eventers. Sasha Banks, Charlotte,
You
Ronda
can't
Rousey,
have that many.
Becky,
The
and
women's
Asuka.
roster is roughly about 20 deep, and that's between 2 shows.
Yeah, so 5?
5 is a lot.
How was that a lot?
That's a lot. When you think about it on the grand scheme of there's 20 female superstars, you're saying you want 25% of them to be top dog.
That makes sense. If they're talented
But in
enough,
theory, based on that number, technically she is. Her and Bayley round out the top. You pretty much got Charlotte, Ronda, and Becky that were clearly on top, and then you got Sasha, Bayley, and then you got Sasha, Carmella, and then the rest of the division.
they booked Alexa Bliss over the last 2-3 years better than they have Sasha Banks.
They haven't really booked Alexa Bliss to do much this year. She hadn't even been in the ring, really.
Yeah, apparently she was hurt or something, right?
I think that just based on the grand scheme of their plans on what they had, they didn't have anything for Alexa. So they said, you know what? Here's a microphone. Go talk.
I said the last 2 years. I'm saying like on the main roster. How long was she the champion for?
She was on the champion. She was a champion for a while.
Okay, so that's my point.
But I mean, guess what? Alexa wasn't. She wasn't champion in NXT. Sasha Banks has had a top billing role for an extremely long time.
No one cares about NXT.
She was you don't care about NXT.
No, NXT is a great show, but that doesn't matter.
You know what?
It doesn't matter on the main roster.
Oh, you know what? Other news. And you know what? The Universal Champion's a former NXT champion too. But anyway, in other news, in the craziness, you also had 2 backstage role changes. You had one guy, and I don't know what his name is. He got fired because he was the guy that was helping Bret Hart with his speech, and allegedly they got some Hall of Fame rule that you're not supposed to mention Vince McMahon. And I think allegedly this guy got fired pretty much right on the spot after Bret Hart mentioned Vince McMahon's name. Odd thing though, no one got fired when DX did it, but they did allude to you're not supposed to mention Vince McMahon in your Hall of Fame speech. But the other big one, and I'm interested in what the long-term effects of this is really going to be, and that's Road Dogg. And for those of you that don't know, he was one of the co-creative leads for SmackDown, stepped down from his position. A lot of that had to do with not necessarily him bumping heads with Vince McMahon in a major way, but if you've been paying attention to SmackDown so frequently, they would announce a match on SmackDown and then it won't happen. And a lot of that was due to the script would be one thing, and then right before the show, Vince McMahon would say, you know what? I want to do this differently, and they do something else. And so the way Road Dogg was feeling was like all of his work that he was doing was being negated. It's like you work on a script for a week, and then he say, "No, I'm going to do this," and it's like, well, you just wasted your time for no reason. So I mean, I'm not sure how big of an effect that's going to have on SmackDown, but I know definitely it's going to have some sort of effect.
Well, here's the thing. I know Road Dogg is notorious for responding to fans when they criticize WWE in any way, creatively. He always responds. He always defends it. Wins and losses don't matter. Blah, blah, blah. Get yourself over. Equal opportunity. So hopefully, now that he's done, I never believed that he really believed the stuff he said on Twitter. So hopefully he'll come out and say that it was all false and that and show some of the stuff that is happening behind the scenes or why the product is not as good as it has potential to be.
Well, no, see, my thing is that SmackDown was still, compared to Raw, typically was the better written show.
Over the last couple of years, I agree.
So, you know what? Last thing. Other news coming up. So, everyone already knows that Brock Lesnar is going to be, probably won't be around for a while. He's potentially slated to fight Daniel Cormier for the UFC heavyweight title down in August. But Bobby Lashley might also be taking some time off. Because allegedly he is still under contract with Bellator. And he's thinking about taking some time off to finally get a long-awaited heavyweight title fight against I think Ryan Bader is their champion over there. But Bobby Lashley has been fighting for a while. He has a record of 15-2 overall in mixed martial arts, and he's 5-0 over at Bellator. And for whatever reason, despite the fact that he's undefeated there, never gets into any of their tournaments, have never had a title shot. So he might be taking off to pursue that.
Hope he goes. Damn. And I hope he goes to AEW too. I hope he leaves the WWE.
He's not going to leave, man. They pay that man too much money.
Oh, gosh.
You know what? Moving on. So let's get into it. We are post WrestleMania. We had a lot of title changes. We're not going to get into all of it. If you haven't watched WrestleMania for some reason, go ahead, watch it. I don't even know why you're listening to us, but don't actually stop listening. Just finish it and then go watch WrestleMania. But we had a lot of changes. We're not going to get into all of them. But you had the Iconics win the tag team titles. I'm a little disappointed in that.
Who did you want to win?
I wanted the Boston Hug Connection to actually win.
Me too.
But
if they weren't going to win, I'm happy it was the Iconics. I didn't want nobody else. If they had to take the belts off of Bayley and Sasha Banks, it had to be the Iconics. And I told you I thought they were trash, but they seem like they have time to grow on me. Nia Jax and Tamina, no. And Beth Phoenix was never going to be around, so.
I mean, if they put the titles on them, she may have stuck around for a couple
I doubt it. She got Edge and her baby girl at home. She not stopped going on the road.
Edge can sit at home for a little while, but I guess I'm interested in who their next feud is going to be. Over on SmackDown, they did have Paige, who's saying that she's on SmackDown and she's going to be debuting a new tag team next week. Not sure who that's going to be, so I'm a little interested in that. But you know what? Let's get right into it. So Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship. Now that that's in the books, unfortunately, I don't know if Daniel Bryan is really hurt or not. It's rumored that he has an undisclosed injury. If Daniel Bryan can't go, who do you want to see him fight?
Well, honestly, back in the day, a feud that I loved that no one ever talks about is Kofi Kingston versus The Miz. So if they have The Miz come back...
I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, if he turns heel against Kofi Kingston, I feel like it'd be really entertaining. And I don't know. I would either say The Miz. I would actually like to see Rusev. And I wish Samoa Joe could drop the United States belt because I would love to see Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe. Kill you. And even Drew McIntyre. I think that would be fun. So there's a lot of people. That's the good thing about having a legitimate, good baby face the crowd is behind, because heels can actually be heels. Like Drew McIntyre is coming out to attack. Kofi Kingston will get booed. But when he attacks Roman Reigns, he might get cheered. I mean...
I'm right there with you. So, you want to see Kofi versus The Miz. All right, so let's, before we get into the Superstar Shakeup that's happening starting on Monday, you got Seth Rollins, new Universal Champion. They shocked me kind of since he won the belt with putting Roman over Drew McIntyre. And of course, as of this past Monday, they haven't actually established a new challenger for Seth Rollins. Who would you want to see challenge Seth?
Number one option, which I'm just going to put it out there. It's not going to happen, but I would love for it to happen. Roman Reigns turn the heel on Seth Rollins, and they start their feud. That'd be a fresh, new feud that we haven't seen.
You know what? Maybe was Roman even on Raw?
On the after show to say goodbye to Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I doubt it was weird that he was missing too. So you want to see Roman? This is weird. I'm like, we're post WrestleMania, and really for both titles, I don't know who their next challengers would be.
It could be Braun Strowman, unless he go. Is he on SmackDown?
We don't know. That's what we're gonna get into next. So you know what? Let's move right into that. So starting next week, Monday and Tuesday, you got the Superstar Shakeup. Anybody can go anywhere. Tag teams can be split up. Stables can be split up. Who would you like to see go to the blue brand?
I would like to see Sullivan go. I'm not familiar with his work.
Well, well, I guess he's eligible, but they haven't actually been assigned, so it's really not a. I guess I would say, yeah, I guess he could end up on SmackDown.
I would rather him instead of being on Raw, because I feel like Raw wouldn't handle him. I feel like on SmackDown, he could actually be a real monster and look the part.
I think he could be a monster on both. Now, and I do think if he's on Raw, he's going to get lost in the shuffle just
exactly
because of how Raw seems to turn out.
Like put him next to like Drew McIntyre, and I don't think he'll look as scary. Or like a Roman Reigns. Like it's not like he's not like a Braun Strowman. He doesn't look like Braun, compared to other people. Now on SmackDown, he would put him next to Rey Mysterio. You'd be terrified of him. So I don't know. I think he'd be better on SmackDown. I'm hoping John Cena could come around more permanently, and I would love to see him on Raw.
I don't want to see John Cena. I want John Cena to stay in his current role.
I'd like to see him more. And Roman Reigns and Seth, they need to stay on Raw. Samoa Joe, he should stay on SmackDown. Finn Balor, I would like to go to SmackDown, but he's an IC champ, so he have to stay on Raw.
Or Joe would have to go.
You said what?
Or Joe would have to go.
Yeah, if they want to switch them, that actually would be good. I actually think that would work out good for both of them. I don't know. I want The Miz to stay on SmackDown. I want him to get the belt. I feel like it's a travesty. He still has not won a championship yet.
He's won a lot of championships.
The championship.
He's won that too.
Recently, within the next 5 to 8 years. I want Bobby Roode to go to SmackDown and be his original character. The suit wearing, arrogant, smug.
Oh, you mean his TNA character?
I said original.
I mean, you got to define original. This is the
you WWE. Can define original for wherever you want.
No, you can't, because this is WWE. What you did over somewhere else don't count.
Well, NXT. He's not like how he was on NXT.
Yeah, he was. He was the glorious Bobby Roode on NXT.
He wore suits. He was arrogant. He was a heel.
He's still a heel. He's still arrogant.
He don't wear suits. He doesn't have the same persona.
He's got the exact same persona.
He doesn't come to the ring with a bunch of ladies.
He doesn't get his choir, but that's about it. He only came out with ladies once.
Hey, like I said, he just seemed like a totally different type of character on NXT. Like on the main roster, he's been floundering, bro, and it's really because of how they booked him, and they brought him up as a babyface for years, and since he's been healed, they've done nothing with him. They put the belt on him, but no one knew he was the champion. You didn't even know.
That's how Raw works with tag teams, though.
So I don't know. I would want him to go solo, and for them to actually book him right, or just release him. Just like they should release a lot of people with the company. I would release Randy Orton, release Rusev.
We talking about the Superstar Shakeup, not who you think should be fired.
Well, that's a shakeup. If they out the door, they're shaking things
you
up.
know that ain't the Superstar Shakeup.
Asuka should go. I think she should try to go to Raw or something. Something different. I don't know what can save her. But
Asuka just needs to go heel and call it a day.
Yeah, I don't know. But she should go somewhere. Who else would I be interested in? If they really want to see Kofi Kingston by himself and get Vince McMahon a lot of heat, they could try to split up the New Day. But I'm against it. But they might do that.
I mean, New Day's already split up now. Big E's going to be out for some weeks.
But they just draft him to another show.
I mean, you just have Kofi and his advocate, Xavier Woods.
So how bad is his knee injury? Can he walk?
He can walk. He should be able to walk. But it hasn't been stated whether or not they're going to just keep him off of TV altogether or keep him on TV, just not in matches.
Yeah, just keep him in the light role. And he could do that over on a different show. Bray Wyatt. That's the interesting one.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's interesting. I mean, until you know how they even going to bring him back.
I'm just saying it's interesting. I haven't seen him in a long time. I'm interested in what he's going to do, what his character's going to be like.
He's going to be that puppet guy.
He could be. I'm going to see what he can do. Raw, maybe. Maybe go to Raw.
He's already on Raw.
When he was on SmackDown, I have so many bad memories as him on SmackDown. He won his first WWE champion. Hooray. But so many bad feuds, so many bad matches, so many long and repetitive, slow, boring ass
You're getting
promos.
off track, though, man. You're off track.
I'm just saying, I don't want him to go back to SmackDown because of the memories. So I want him to stay on Raw.
So it sounds like you're out of names. You want Baron Corbin to go over?
I want Baron Corbin. I'm gonna be fair to Baron Corbin. I was gonna say something really rude. He can stay on Raw. I just don't see it. Whatever they're trying to do with Baron, I just don't see it.
I think Baron is one that definitely will benefit from going to SmackDown. I mean, just one, no one likes him.
He gets go away heat. Like, we just was watching Game of Thrones upstairs. You know the heat that little boy got from the audience? That's Baron Corbin in the WWE. Like, we really want to punch him in the face.
See, I think Baron Corbin will make a great challenger for Kofi.
Absolutely. Kofi will never get booed if he went against Baron Corbin. So, that's a good one. Baron Corbin going to SmackDown. But, I don't know. I'm going to be fair to Baron. He has potential. He has made some good promos. I can't think of too many good matches. But I see they got a plan for him. Who else you got for me?
So you know what? One of the first things I want to see from this shakeup, I'd actually like to see AOP get sent over to SmackDown.
Absolutely.
I think they're one of the most underutilized tag teams that even came out of NXT. And, since SmackDown does care about tag teams, they would make a great fit.
Absolutely. So what tag team would you want to come to Raw?
I would say the Usos. And I feel like moving the Usos to Raw, I think would be a good start. If Raw wanted to get serious about tag teams.
Well, they can't bury the Usos. They're too talented, right? Like, they couldn't do them too bad, right?
Exactly. And I feel like if they moved them over to Raw, they would start taking the tag team division seriously. Like, in theory, I almost would want to see I'd like to see a tag team shakeup. Because I feel like they get all of the legitimate tag teams right now, minus AOP, who they're not on TV right now, period. But all the legitimate tag teams are on SmackDown. New Day, Bar, Usos, Hardys. You got them all on SmackDown. And then on Raw, you kind of got the joke tag teams. Like, their most serious team is the Revival. And then you got Heavy Machinery. They're entertaining. They haven't fully got thrown into that whole joke territory. But the rest of the division is filled. You got your tag team champions, it's Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, and Kurt Hawkins hadn't won a match in over 200 and something losses in a row. That's your tag team champions, and then you got the B Squad. You got the Ascension. It was like all the teams that decided to job out for a while. We're going to put them all on Raw since we don't care about them.
Well, I think the thing is, if they bring the Usos over, right, and they're successful, Vince McMahon might consider turn them solo, turn them into single stars. So, I don't know, Steven.
I don't think so. I mean, they're huge stars already on SmackDown as a tag team.
Yeah, he might try to make them feud against each other and be single stars.
I wouldn't want to see that. It's one of those things where, kind of like how I was saying earlier, where, not everybody can be a main eventer. I feel like, I guess maybe I enjoy back in the day where, like, the Road Warriors were always together.
I agree, but Vince McMahon hates tag team wrestling. He's admitted it. You heard sources. He hates. That's why he runs Raw and someone else runs SmackDown. And why SmackDown has good tag teams and Raw has joke tag teams, because Vince McMahon sees it as a joke. So maybe send the Usos and to Raw and send the Revivals to SmackDown. And maybe the Revivals will sign on with y'all long term.
Oh, the Revival will be happy on SmackDown.
Huh?
I said the Revival will be happy on SmackDown.
Yeah. And maybe they'll... I'm just giving them some advice. But they can keep them on Raw all they want. And hopefully they continue to get mad. And hopefully they can walk over to AEW. Because I really want that to succeed.
Anyway. So, you know
AEW.
what?
I'm saying it.
For the rest of this list, I'm a little bit indifferent. And there's... On one hand, I would like to see Drew McIntyre get drafted over to SmackDown. And because I feel like, as it stands, the way they've been going, Drew is more likely to be champ on SmackDown. And I feel like SmackDown needs some stronger heels. The other one, and I don't know really which way I want to go. I don't know if I want Braun to go to SmackDown or if I want Joe to go to Raw. And most of it is because on SmackDown, they teased a Braun Strowman versus Samoa Joe feud. And I'd really like to see that. And, actually, I'd rather see Braun go to SmackDown. And I just say that because just like Drew McIntyre, I think his chances to ever be champ it's higher on SmackDown than it is Raw.
I'm sorry, I get confused about Braun Strowman sometimes. Is he heel or face?
Face.
Okay. Would you want him to turn back heel again and feud against Kofi Kingston?
See, I don't really feel like it's a face or heel thing. Because while technically he's a face, and his face status is merely based on the alignment of the people that he fights, not a whole lot has changed in how he operates.
I will say this. He looked like a real big heel feuding against Kevin Owens, even though he was supposed to be the face. You remember that feud?
Well, I mean, because in that, like I said, since they didn't change much about his overall character, yeah, he looked like a big bully.
He looked like an asshole.
I mean, even, with his whole Saturday Night Live feud, he looked like a big bully. But nonetheless, everybody cheered him.
Yeah. Well, who else would you like to see move? Dean Ambrose. Oh, he's moving.
I kind of like them to shake up the women's division on both brands as well. I feel like a lot of it it's become stale.
To me, they top heavy. It's like they focus so much on the top three that everybody else just doesn't seem to really matter like that. And that's a problem.
Well, right now, I don't feel like it's that they're top heavy. I feel like they initially moved all of their top female wrestlers over to Raw. I'm like, Raw had Ronda, Bailey, Sasha, Natalya. And I guess it might be how things have been going the last couple months. you've seen more of Becky and Charlotte on Raw as well. And then over on SmackDown, you kind of had Asuka. And then some other people. And I think they need to do a complete rebalance of the division on both brands. So it's like I don't really have I want to see Charlotte go here and Becky go here. I just feel like they just need to it needs to be leveled out. I feel like at this stage in the game they have a level playing field. They've established enough women on the top, and they just need to fill in those placeholders because I feel like it's it might be a bigger gap on SmackDown than it is on Raw. But I feel like there's a big gap in how people view the women's division on Raw and SmackDown, especially when you started seeing Becky and Charlotte feud with Ronda. It's like you had Asuka, who was on top, and then no one else on her level. And then I think that led to her being poorly utilized and kind of just cast to the side for the women's take-all match.
Yeah, they tried to have her fight Lana. I don't know what they were thinking.
And I'm like, and that's how devoid SmackDown is. I mean, Naomi lost a whole lot of credibility just from not being utilized.
Yeah. Well, how about this? How about we send Roman Reigns to SmackDown and troll the audience?
Why are we talking about Roman Reigns in the women's division?
Well, what else did you have to say about the women's division?
Well, we were talking about the women's division and you jumping back to Roman Reigns.
All right, well, I thought we was done with that. You said that you didn't want this
I
person to go here and that person to go there.
We were done with your moves from Raw to SmackDown.
Huh?
Nothing at all.
Go ahead, Steven.
But so you want to move Roman to SmackDown? Who you want to see? Who you want Roman to fight?
I want him to beat Kofi Kingston to troll the audience and really show Vince McMahon what it is.
Really?
Yeah, they're gonna boo him out the building.
You're awful, man.
I think he should just be healed.
Well, you know what? On that note, hey, thanks for joining us for another edition of VGR Lockdown. Make sure like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.